Hey guys, look what came in the mail from Dick Blick today. I am so super excited about this set. I've been waiting for a long time and I can't wait to share it with you guys today. So I first found out about this set from Doodle Wash way back in July, and I've been avidly stalking Daniel Smith ever since. In fact, at Hands On Creativity at the end of October, I asked the rep when they were gonna have it, and he said in about 2 weeks. And I've been kind of stalking Plaza and Dick Blick, and finally they listed it, and I ordered it, I guess about 2 weeks ago. It took 2 weeks to come in. So here it is. This is what we're gonna look at today. So this set comes minimally packaged. It's just in a cardboard box with some tape dots on the side. Go ahead and get those undone. And it lists, I got the ultimate mixing set and I paid about $74. You can check the description below for not only links to where you can get your own if you're interested in this, but for an accurate price. But I think I paid $74 for the ultimate 60 mixing set, which has 15 colors and then comes with an empty half pan case. And those of you who watched my Hands On Creativity haul video, I've already kind of talked about this a little bit. So on the side of the box is a list of the colors. We have Jane's Gray, Raw Umber, Indian Red, Burnt Sienna, Goethite, which is a brown ochre, phthalo green, blue shade, phthalo blue green shade, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, quinacridone rose, permanent alizarin crimson, pyrrole scarlet, quin gold, Hansa yellow medium, and buff titanium. So inside we have 2 small containers. This is the empty mixing set. I believe I have to push in the middle to open it. Oh, he showed me in person and now I can't get it, so I'll have to mess with that a little bit later. Now, these are hand-filled at the Daniel Smith manufacturing plant. Unfortunately for me, these have sat outside in the cold. They were delivered after 2 o'clock, which was when I checked for the mail. And they've been poured 3 times. And all of the colors in this set are specially picked and specially formulated for their reworkability. So unlike with our Mayan blue, we shouldn't have any problems with these not activating. It says, I'm unique. All colors inside are made with the highest pigment load possible, hand poured and dried to specific water retention levels. You may notice that some colors may have pulled slightly away from the sides or the corner, or may have a roundness to them. This is normal for our hand poured product. And these paints are actually specially formulated. They've changed the formulation a little bit so that they will work even better as dried half pans. Be assured that every pan has undergone multiple rigorous quality control processes and only passes if it meets our strict standard for both volume and density regardless of its final shape. And I love the profile, the format of these boxes. They're very compact, nice for travel. Very streamlined. I like that while they're attractive, they're not like overly engineered. The money really went to the paints rather than to everything that went with the paints. We also have some instructional packaging. Daniel Smith hand-poured watercolor half-pan sets. This is the ultimate mixing set, proudly made in Seattle, Washington. And there are multiple little sets, and it seems like this map here talks about all the different sets if you want to expand your collection, with this being ours. But the Sketcher set, which is in 6 colors, seems really nice too. And then it also talks about the hand pouring process. And I don't think it says anything about how to open it, but I'll read the back for you guys. The Ultimate Mixing Set was devised as a useful, versatile range of paints to include in a watercolor palette. Whether the aim is to paint botanicals, landscapes, urban scenes, animals, portraits, or any other subject, this set of 15 colors will enable you to mix all the colors that you need. The 15 colors used in this palette showcases the many characteristics of watercolor. Some are transparent, some are opaque, some are semi-transparent, some are staining, and some granulating. Some have 2 or 3 of these characteristics. They are also largely single pigment colors, and they are carefully chosen to intermix, creating a world of colors. Importantly, they are all reliable pigments with a light fast rating of 1 or 2 for watercolor. And then that was Jane Blundell, who I believe is the person that Jane's Gray is named after. Following in the Daniel Smith tradition of manufacturing the finest handcrafted paints and products, our pans are hand-poured. Hand-pouring pans is incredibly labor-intensive, but offers the purest form of professional watercolor half pans. Handcrafted, proudly made in Seattle, Washington, professional artist quality, re-wets quickly and easily. Daniel Smith uses the exact same formula for both tube and hand-poured pan colors. Now, I've been told that they've been reformulated a bit so they would perform a little bit better, and I'm wondering if anyone can tell me whether or not that was not true, since the box says that it's using the same formula. Portable and easy to use, perfect for travel, plein air, urban sketching, and exploring unique color combinations. And it does not say how to open these, so I am going to spend a moment off camera to figure out how to open this. All right, I've got it figured out. We actually start from the sides, and ta-da! So this does not include a foam inset like some paint sets do, and that's just to protect the paints in transit. Although they sat outside, they seem to have come to no ill effects. And this is our empty palette, which we can fill with our own watercolors of choice. There's nothing holding these half pans in, so they're not held in by magnets, and they will flop out if you turn the palette upside down while they're in there. So let's say it gets like your dog, right, runs by and knocks your table, they will go somewhere. So you might want to spend a moment to glue magnets to them, which would definitely make them stick out a lot, or just use some washi tape to tape them down into their slots. So that is our half pans. They have been filled all the way up, and you guys may have noticed in some of my videos when I fill half pans, they often dry a little scant. So this one was filled all the way and it dried pretty scant. So these are triple filled. So since I am so hype about these watercolors, I was sort of thinking about doing this a couple ways. Of course, I'm going to do regular swatching for this, and of course I'm going to do a field test. Now, one of the reasons I was drawn to the Ultimate Mixing Set is that it contains a lot of Daniel Smith colors that I don't actually own. There's a couple, maybe a couple. I think I own their Quin Gold. I know I own their Quin Gold. I know I own their Buff Titanium in a tube, their Ultramarine, and that might, oh, and their Burnt Sienna. So what I was thinking I could do in another video, if you guys are interested, and you should totally let me know if you are, is do a swatch off where we compare these half pans. We compare the colors that I do own in tube, straight from the tube, then we dry some of those tube watercolors and swatch those as well, just to see if there's any difference in reactivation or how they handle. If you like that idea, let me know in the comments below, and I would be happy to accommodate you. All right, so it is time for us to go ahead and do our swatching. I'm just gonna move some of this paperwork off to the side. I'm also going to move our small additional set off to the side, and I really look forward to filling this with some of my favorite Daniel Smith colors. They have some really gorgeous colors that are not yet available in this set, but that I can fill myself. And also, like, it's just really incredible that they sent another palette with the Ultimate Mixing Set. Like, I really feel like Daniel Smith understands artists and how artists think and what artists enjoy. I really enjoy that they take that time. And every time I've talked to a Daniel Smith rep whether it was the owner or someone else representing the company, they've always been incredibly receptive to my questions. They've always been very knowledgeable. They've always treated me with respect and with kindness, like a customer who they value. And Daniel Smith is one of like 3 companies that when I email them a question, they actually respond to me. So I know I complain a lot on this channel about art supply companies not doing a good job, but I really feel like Daniel Smith does. So here is our mixing set. I would like to see them put a piece of foam in the top just for travel purposes. And then we have Langton Prestige 100% cotton watercolor paper. We're going to be testing on this today. And I went ahead and I did some lines on it with alcohol markers. Now, these are to test a couple of different things. They're to test opacity. They're also to test how the colors kind of layer over other colors. And eventually I'll end up making a color mixing chart with these. So usually with watercolors, I like to pre-activate them. And I think I'm going to do that with these. And I'm going to do that very simply. We're just going to put a dot of water. Now, the sort of powder that has not emitted, but come from the shipping process, come from being jostled around, because when you turn these over, you can hear them come loose from the case, and a piece of foam would help protect that. But I'm going to tape these down with washi tape after this review. But I do want to point that out, as it is something you need to know about. Perhaps I understand kind of why they don't have these click in like some other brands, kind of click into the palette. You would have a difficult time getting them out. They're pretty well recessed in there. I think Da Vinci makes a little tool that you use to pry your half pans out, so that could be a direction for the future. I know Daniel Smith puts a lot of pride and care into their products, so I'm sure they're receptive to any suggestions from artists. And just in case I have any Daniel Smith reps watching this video, I am a watercolor comic artist, so I'm a little bit different from your usual clientele, but I really enjoy these products, and my friend Kabocha, who's also a watercolor artist who does comics, really enjoys these products as well, and she was the one who introduced me to them. So just to give you a little bit of information about your customer base. All right, so these have activated for a little while. I'm using a really, really soft squirrel hair brush here. And all I'm really gonna do is we're going to do a gradiated wash swatch, and then we're going to do a mass tone swatch. These activated quickly, and the colors seem quite nice. Really excited that they included their Quin Gold in this set. It's a really beautiful color. It shades quite nicely. And again, given the quality of Daniel Smith watercolors, I thought the price I paid on Blick, which was around $75 for 15 colors, was a really good price. These are triple filled, so I definitely feel like I'm getting my money's worth, and you can refill them from the tubes. Now, I don't know if Daniel Smith plans on selling open stock half pans. They do have quite a range, though, of different color sets. And I love the compact form factor for the Ultimate Mixing Set. 15 colors, but it really takes up the space of some 6 color sets. I also really like the choice of buff titanium. I feel like that is an unusual choice. And they already have like their Essential 6 set, which I reviewed here on this channel, and I really like that as well. So it's really nice to see Daniel Smith sort of offering variations on their own lines, doing different color sets. And I know they also work with artists to do like special themed artist sets. Now, they opted not to include any sort of a mixing palette in this set, which I'm actually really happy about that. I'm really glad that they just focused on the paints and the quality of the paints. I feel like, and you guys have seen me dry out Daniel Smith paints to use in my everyday palette. You guys have heard me talk about my favorite colors. I'm not shy about talking about Daniel Smith when I'm talking about my work. And I really feel like they selected colors, pigments that reactivate well. And I'm really glad they included a Jane's Gray. I really love Payne's Grays in mixing palettes. I think it's a really versatile color. It's not difficult to get it to appear black. Okay, so here are our initial swatches. I'm going to give these a chance to dry, and then I'm going to do my mass tone swatches. So this has had a chance to dry. Next, I'm going to do my mass tone swatches, and I think I'm going to do two. I think I'm going to do one at the top and one at the bottom. Now I'm doing the one at the top to demonstrate opacity, and I'm just doing the one at the bottom so we can see what the color really looks like in its full mass tone. These seem to dry fairly quickly, which makes them kind of ideal for travel watercolors. They also are not getting soupy, and that is something I've noticed. Some tube watercolors, when dried in pans, have a tendency to get soupy when they reconstitute, like the Magello watercolors tend to get kind of soupy, and they take forever to dry, and they like glop up on your brush. These don't seem to have that problem. I'm also just really pleased by how saturated the colors can be. It reminds me a lot of the Da Vinci set I reviewed and fell in love with earlier this year. Both are American-made watercolor brands, so it's really nice to see the US representing in the art materials field with some really great watercolor contenders. I think the Daniel Smith set has a little bit more variety in color than the Da Vinci set. And if any of you guys are interested, I can also do a Da Vinci versus Daniel Smith comparison using both of their, the Da Vinci set is whole pans and the Daniel Smith set are half pans, but I can swatch both for you guys if you're interested. Again, just comment below and say you want to see the Daniel Smith Da Vinci swatch off. And I know there are a lot of smaller individual manufacturers, people who are kind of cottage industry producing watercolors in their garage and selling them on Etsy and such. And I would be interested in reviewing more sets of those. I did take a look at the Antithesis Arts Meadow palette, and I would definitely be open to reviewing more of them. So when I'm talking about American watercolors, I don't mean to exclude those. I just don't have a lot of experience with those. This little palette here would actually fit in my pocket. And you know what? As a woman who wears women's jeans, that's quite an impressive feat. I can't even get my cell phone in my pocket, but I think I could get this set in my pocket. It would easily fit into my purse. It's compact enough that I can actually see myself bringing it places and maybe even pulling it out at like a Starbucks or a cafe or something. One of the reasons when I'm traveling, I don't do that is because the sets I want to use tend to take up so much space. This little set is very, very compact. Now I would have to bring something I could mix in, but that kind of opens me up to my own choices. That's another reason why I'm glad they didn't include a palette on there. As you guys who watch my videos, you've probably noticed I don't often use the palettes that come with my watercolors. I think maybe the only exception might be the Sakura Koi palettes for like the 24 color set. I'll use those because I can remove those and I can wash those. When you have palettes that are like welded on the inside of the lid, I risk getting my watercolors wet, washing out my palette. So I just don't use it very often. All right, we are going to allow this to dry, and then we're going to do a lift test. All right, friends, I am going to go ahead and do a lift test. I have a cup of clean water here, and I went and I grabbed a synthetic, and I also have a clean paper towel. So, in an attempt to keep this video short, I'm going to go ahead and break it up. I'm sure some of you guys would be interested in seeing a color mix chart, which is something I do just about never. But I do think they can be really valuable. And there's a lot of really interesting colors in this set, and I think it would be useful for me as the part of the experimenter to sort of get a feel for what kind of mixes are available in this set. And it might be useful or inspirational for you guys. I also mentioned earlier in the video that I would be willing to do a swatch off where I take comparable Daniel Smith colors from my normal watercolor collection. So these would be tube watercolors. I swatch them straight from the tube against these, and then I allow them to dry for a while and re-swatch to see if that changes any of the working properties. And that's something that is contingent on you guys in the comment section letting me know that that is something you'd be interested in seeing. I also plan on doing at least one field test. Which is where I draw something in my normal style and then I paint it, and that helps me see how well the palette works or how well the paints work for my needs, since not every watercolor artist works the same way, and I am a watercolor comic artist. I have some really unique needs, and that might be useful for those of you in the audience who are also illustrators or comic artists yourselves. Now, there was a period of time where I did something called mud testing. I would do that in 3 layers. And it was basically to test whether or not the watercolors lifted, whether or not they became muddy, how well they glazed over one another. So before I'm going to put that in a separate video, and that way we'll have everything in unique, discrete chunks. From left to right, we have Buff Titanium, which contains PW6, Hansa Yellow Medium, which is PY97, Quin Gold, which is PO48, PY150, Pyrrole Scarlet, which is PR255, Permanent Alizarin Crimson, which is PR177, PV19, and PR149, Quin Rose, which is PV19, Ultramarine Blue, which is PB29, Cerulean Blue, which is PB36, Phthalo Blue Green Shade, which is PB15, Phthalo Green Blue Shade, which is PG7, Gyothite, which is a brown ochre, which is PY43, Burnt Sienna, which is PBR7, Indian Red, which is PR101, Raw Umber, which is PBR7, and Jane's Gray, which is PB29 and PBR7. And for those of you who are interested in the light fast information, Daniel Smith makes all of that very accessible right here. So you find your set name and you will find your light fast information. You will find the archival information. In fact, I would have to look up another key to see, oh, here we go. Oh my gosh, Daniel Smith is the best. So they have, light fast information with 1 being excellent, 2 being very good, 3 being fair, and 4 being fugitive. There seems to only be 1s in here. Non-staining versus staining, with 1 being non-staining, 2 being low staining, 3 being medium staining, and 4 being high staining. We have 1, 3, we have 1, 4. Okay, so we have kind of a mix in terms of how staining, and usually colors that are very granulating are not very staining, and colors that don't granulate on their own, you have to add a granulation medium, tend to be very staining. So then they say whether or not they are granulating, with N being no and Y being yes to varying degrees. Let's see if there's any. All right, so ultramarine blue is both very granulating and very staining, so that's kind of the exception. Then we have transparent or transparency. So we have only one opaque color here, which is Indian red, and I would have thought buff titanium would have been opaque as well, with a good mix of semi-transparent and fully transparent. And then there's a P mark for their Primatech series, and I would love to see them do a Primatech half pan set. Now, the reason I would like to see that is I have unboxed and swatched the little Primatech mixing set. I love the colors. Mayan blue, though, is made with a type of clay rather than necessarily from a pigment. It's clay mixed with woad, with indigo. Mayan blue does not reconstitute. So once you've put it in a half pan, you've got a little piece of clay in your half pan. And that's not a slam on Daniel Smith. That's just Mayan blue. And the rep was actually kind enough to explain that to me. So they're very forthcoming about that information. But I'd love to see a Primatech set with colors specifically designed for field work and for remixing. For those of us who really enjoy Primatech, having a curated selection like that would be really nice. So the ultimate mixing set is the Jane Blundell set. And Jane says, whether the aim is to paint botanicals. Oh wait, did I read this for you guys? No, I didn't. Okay. Whether the aim is to paint botanicals, landscapes, urban scenes, animals, portraits, or any other subject, this set of 15 colors will enable you to mix all the colors you need. The 15 colors used in this palette showcase the many characteristics of watercolor. Some are transparent, some are opaque, some semi-transparent, some staining, and some granulating. Some have 2 or even 3 of these characteristics. They are also largely single pigment colors, and they are carefully chosen to intermix, creating a world of colors. Importantly, they are all reliable pigments with a light-fast rating of 1 or 2 for watercolor. All right, so I have enjoyed, it was a delight, it was a pleasure unboxing and swatching the Daniel Smith Ultimate Mixing Half Pan Set for you guys today. Keep an eye on this channel where I do mud testing. Keep an eye on this channel, especially if you're interested in seeing me compare these half pans with their tube watercolors. Remember, you got to say something in the comments to get me to do it. And stick around, stay tuned to this channel for the field test where I put these beautiful watercolors to work. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys again really soon. If you're looking for more If you're looking for more watercolor reviews, consider subscribing. And if you're looking for more watercolor tutorials, you can head on over to natosoup.blogspot.com and check out my watercolor basics series. If you guys were intrigued when you heard me talk about being a watercolor comic artist, you can head on over to 7inchcara.com or 7inchcara.tumblr.com to check out my beautiful watercolor webcomic, which, yes, I do use Daniel Smith paints when I'm painting 7-inch Cara, with Undersea Green being a favorite. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys again really soon. Bye, guys.